Okay, everybody except for Saloni, raise both your hands, shake it up, and send her a lot of love and energy. Yes, come on, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. One, two, three. Saloni ki jai ho.
So, hello, business leaders. How many of you would like to have a clear and actionable roadmap for achieving your business goals by show of hands? Excellent. And how many of you would like to have access to those proven techniques and strategies that can help you increase your people productivity and accountability? By raise of hands? Brilliant. So my name is Saloni Kaul. I'm the founder and CEO of It's People, which is an HR business consulting firm. I'm happily married, mother to two awesome children, and blessed with the world's best mother-in-law. At the outset, I would like to thank all of you for taking out the time to come and attend this specific program. And I promise to make the next 2 days for you the most rewarding days of your life. So as you can see,
Sorry, it is so beautiful. I had to stop you. Can you have a round of applause for Saloni, please? So see, if you want to model upon the energy, the smile, the beginning, the starting, the acknowledgement, the BRQ, this is what we must, model upon. Such a powerful start, and then she said something like on the lines of business leaders or business something, obviously she knows her audience. It made me feel so good about being with her. So yeah, spot on BRQ, smile, gracefulness, and the personal life came in so amazingly, and the acknowledgement was amazing. So yeah, round of applause one more time. Beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So as you're aware, I'm an entrepreneur coach and advisor on leadership, people, and culture. I come with more than 3 decades of a rich Indian and multinational experience, having worked with people from various countries and cultures. As you can see, I went through life and I did a lot of certifications with the only intention of investing in myself so that I could create value for everyone that I came and worked with. Here is a glimpse of all the awards, some of the most recent ones that I have actually been bestowed upon. As you can see, there are multiple awards. I've been acknowledged by ISB for their business plan award. So this was way back in 2013 when I did their 10,000 women entrepreneurship program. Then in recent times in 2019, Women Innovator, again, another women-oriented platform, honored me with the title of an HR influencer. And then in 2020, they recognized my efforts of mentoring women entrepreneurs on differentiation, strategy, and execution. The same year, I was also recognized as the fellow of the Startup Leadership Program. I'm also the best-selling author of the Growth Hacking Book 2 in 2020. This was a book project wherein 100 authors from 20 countries came together to create this amazing book. It's available on Amazon. You may go ahead and order yours. And then I received the Award of Excellence, which is the 1000 Women of Asia Award. This was in 2021. And I was named the HR Woman Leader of the Year by HR Association of India in 2021 as well. This year, in 23, I received the Contribution to Management Excellence Award for being the president of FMA, which is Faridabad Management Association. And I was named very recently as one of the 50 most empowering women leaders to look out for by UK Global. So these are few of my happy customers. This is just a selection that I have worked with in the last 11 years, ever since I started my consulting practice. And I'd like to take you through this video, which is, one sec, let me see. Okay, for some reason it's not playing. Anyways, I'll come back to it later. So as the president of Faridabad Management Association, I was elected for this position last year. I'm currently running this role for the next term as well. My vision for this association is to be a leading promoter of excellence in management and leadership, and to provide all our members with a platform, a forum for fellowship, learning, and innovation. About 6 years ago, when I did my program with Landmark, it was a continuing education program with Landmark, I started Udan, It's Time to Fly. And this was a CSR project for me. I wanted to give back to the society. And I started to run and invite leaders from the society to come and do courses and programs for coaching new entrepreneurs or those who are aspiring to be one or already probably have started one.
Okay, Saloni, sweetheart, you have a great presence. You have amazing voice, and I know that you're already a professional speaker. So it's an honor, to help you polish up, your skills and become more powerful than what you already are right now. Just because then I don't lose track, I'm going to give you a few things right now. Your brand came in beautifully because your start was so amazing, and it is also highlighted in your virtual background. It's people. Okay, how many of you here you got her brand? Yeah, she brought it out beautifully. In your virtual background, if I look at it right now, the only thing I would change a little bit, your text creating endless possibilities for you, it needs to go into 3 lines so that your face, when the center it doesn't cuts off what it is there, because some people might get stuck up there to read it. Okay, and the lesser number of words you have, the better it is. So maybe you would place it somewhere in your bottom, maybe because you already have a website running on this side. Okay, because I observe everything. So if you, and again, this color can change. Maybe the white color is not coming it so beautifully on green right now. Okay, what else? Okay, in one slide you showed a lot of your certifications in text form. That was a lot in one go. So what you can do, bring them into like transition, first, second, third, fourth, and very briefly talk about it if you want to, because it was too many words and people will start reading it. Okay, especially the visual people like me, which are 70 to 80% in the room. Same with your certifications. They were all in one go. It is better to take them in one slide, because I think you spoke about pretty much most of it. Whatever those certifications you had, you spoke about pretty much most of it. So bring them one at a time, or bring them one, transition into become smaller, and then bring the second one. It becomes smaller, goes on this corner, becomes smaller, goes there, becomes smaller, goes there. Or the other way is that if you want to bring them all in one go, circle them in red when you talk about them, so we know which one to focus on. Otherwise, we are kind of going, okay, which one are you talking about right now? 100 authors, 20 countries. I think I would leave the idea of sending them to Amazon. Just say it's available on Amazon. That actually by default it means that grab a copy, and it is initial beginning. So we don't want to do any CTA right now. We'll do a CTA when we have added enough value, towards the mid or towards the end. Okay. And you had a beautiful opportunity to do something called engaging question. Now and then, do an engaging question. So when you spoke about Landmark, it was an opportunity to say, how many of you here, you've heard about Landmark by raise of hand or by show of hands. If you don't get complete buying in, let's say, then you can say, for those of you who are not aware, it's a training platform. It's a community, or it's a company which delivers very powerful, empowering trainings for people. And during one of their trainings, I started Uran. I was so inspired that it made me start something called Uran. Make sense?
Thank you.
You're doing very beautiful. So there's nothing much to add here, but few little tweaks here. So we'll start with Uran. It is going very well right now.
Okay. So how many of you have come across Uran as, okay, no, not Uran, Landmark. So should I start with Landmark or Uran? Okay, let me start with Uran. So in 2019, I enrolled with Landmark. I did their foundation series and I did the advanced one. And then I went on to do the SELP, the Self-Expression Leadership Program, as a result of which Udan, It's Time to Fly, this project took off. So when I started my career, it was with my family's business, and when I saw my dad sitting at his work desk, giving instructions to people, he was there in his business suit. There was a white board on his right. There was a maroon diary on his table, and all that thing made me wish that I will also have a business of my own sometime in life. And that visual stayed with me for a very long time. And when I went through Landmark, I decided that I would now bring this vision, this visual that was there in this dream, to reality. And so I started Udan. So it was a social program. I wanted to create a community of informed entrepreneurs, because as per my research, many entrepreneurs actually fail. They give up, hardly 2 3 years of starting up. And there are very specific reasons why they do that. So we wanted to create programs so that they could learn, they could get informed, and then they would go out and start their startup program, or they could then probably do something better so that their business continued. And so with this in mind, Udan took off. And so our goal was to create a community of just 2,500 entrepreneurs who were eager to fly. And it was such a big moment for me. From there on, I realized that my purpose in life was to really awake people to the possibilities that existed for them. And you see this at the back of my where I stand, my background. I want people to live their dreams. I want to awaken them, because there's so much of potential that's within people that they're not even realizing that what is there in within them, and thereby creating a world of endless possibilities. So with that, I created this mission that I really want to awaken people. I want to impact 1 million entrepreneurs so that they can live their dreams or unleashing their infinite potential and creating a world of endless possibilities. And I came up with this. And this was not just it. I added something before it and after it as well. So Saloni called live with purpose, lead with strength, but don't forget to have fun. And with that in mind, always when I look at how life has, dealt cards, and, we all go through life, there are moments when we know that, something's working for us and something's not working for us, but how do we really take it forward? How do we deal with it? And I derive so much of strength, and that's why I made this kind of a tagline. So on that note, I created this program called 3P. So thank you for being here today, which is all about enhancing business results. And how do you do that? You do that through purpose, through people, and performance. So the 3Ps. So before I get into the program, may I share a little bit about myself? Thank you. So the year was 1967, and on 2nd of August, 1967, I came into this world. How many of you have heard of Baramulla, or would you like to go to it? Show of hands. Okay, great. So it is the city of mountains, and I am so happy that, my parents decided that though they didn't live there, they decided that I would go to their native town and actually, take birth there. So everyone was so elated on my birth. You can see that's my grandmother and my aunts. They were so happy to see me. They were really happy because I was the first grandchild. And I learned that my dad had left, their hometown, Baramulla, several years ago, to build and create, his professional life outside of Kashmir. And to do that, he moved to Bombay, then he went to Goa. And somewhere in between, he met my mother. That's a wedding pic. They got married. And then when it was time for me to actually come into this world, my mother traveled back to Kashmir so that I could, take birth here. After a few weeks of basking in the warmth, in the love and the attention that came after my birth, me, my mother, my aunt, and my uncle, we went back to Goa. And like I said, My dad had already, he wasn't there with us. He was already in Goa at that time. And then something happened. Tragedy struck our family. I lost my mom. It was a horrible kitchen accident. And in those days, we used to cook on stoves. The stove exploded and she got badly burnt. I was way too young to even know her, to remember her, to know what she looked like. For many years, I did not even know her name. And some conversations never really happened. I was afraid to bring up the topic, lest my dad, would kind of be hurt by those painful memories. Anyway, life went on, and my father soon moved to a job in Delhi. I was still a toddler at that time. He married again. I think I was 4 years old that time. I remember my new mom, big eyes, wearing a sari, a juda, a bindi, and a smile. And then my baby brother was born. I was a happy 5-year-old. And then one terrifying night, I woke up to screams. Mom was wearing a nylon sari that had caught fire. I saw her. I saw my dad trying to save her. I was totally numb, couldn't speak. A few days later, we lost her. And I was feeling like jinxed. I felt like, did I not deserve mother's love? Actually, at that time, I didn't even know that I had my own mother. I thought that this is the mother, the only mother that I have. But I consoled myself as my father loved me a lot. Few years passed by and my dad remarried so that he could give me and my brother a comfortable life, someone to take care of us. I was probably 7 or 8 years old that time. And then I understood what this meaning of stepmom really is. Life was not a bed of roses at all, not anymore. It was not what any child should ever go through. I felt unheard, unseen, unloved. I was probably old enough to understand what was happening with me. And I developed a coping mechanism to get me through the motions of the day. And I call it the ODAAT. What is that? It's one day at a time. And at the same time, kept hoping and waiting for life to change. We were not allowed to.
Saloni, sweetheart, sorry to interrupt and stop you. Okay. In your Uran slide, you have a brochure looking for leaders, looking for venue. If I was you, I will change it. I will just say Uran and the essence of Uran with a picture. Again, too many texts is never recommended for slides, pretty much on all occasion, except for a very rare occasion, you might have to use it. For landmark, don't give the name of the program, just say you did a training. Otherwise, people might get little confused there, okay? I just showed you one way to bring engaging question. You can bring it in many various ways, wherever you want to. Okay, again, for video, it didn't play, it's okay. You kept moving on, that was nice. That's what trainers do. Sometimes videos don't play based on the format you have. You've got to test it out. 2000 entrepreneur, I heard, that was nice. And then you are on a mission to help 1 million entrepreneurs, right? Okay. In your tagline, it says lead something, something, live something, lead something. And then it says, do not something fun. So if I was you, I would look at an empowering statement by saying, do it while having fun. There's nothing wrong in saying don't but don't is more on the negative side. Anything you say after don't, it becomes people's reality. So maybe the third tagline could be do it while having fun. Okay. It's not that you have to use it. If you feel right with what you have used, go with that. So 1967, 2nd August. There's a lot of reference to 2nd August today. 2nd August, you came, Baramulla. Thank you for introducing me to Baramulla. Beautiful place. Your family pictures all needs to come bigger, one at a time. That means you can use 3 more slides to bring those 3 pictures. And you can circle yourself, in the picture so that people can see, though it is very obvious, we can see it. Because, when you do virtual trainings, a lot of people attend from phone and tablets. So the space is anyways very little. So your job is to make it as big, as wide as possible, for those slides. So they don't miss out anything. So always assume the phone user and then design your slides for everybody, not just for you. Okay. And I'm sorry for your loss. Again, bring the explosion first, in the kitchen, which you did, as a second statement. But bring that explosion one day, an explosion happened in the kitchen, and I lost my biological mother. As per what my father or my family explained me, I was too young to understand that, but now I know it was an accident where I lost my biological mother. Then what I know, from my dad's sharing, that he remarried at the age when I was 4 years old, and I had some consciousness of thinking that this is my mother because that's what I saw my mother to have a bindi and all that was beautiful. Okay, and then maybe quickly put a line, and the reason I never realized that she's not my biological mother because she treated me as her own child. Because then you're going to bring a contrast, at the third mom you will have at the age of 7 or 8. Okay. And you had a brother, which was a brother for you. You never had any difference. And then, that incident happened. That incident, I'm sorry, I was a bit lost. Your mother was wearing a Ninal sari. So would you like to give me a bit more light on what happened, with your mother?
So it was a winter night, and she had gone in to warm some milk for my baby brother. And the sari caught fire. And this was, we were already in Delhi. We used to live in South Extension that time. And
Okay. So yeah, just briefly, you can say one night, my mom, was in the kitchen warming milk for my baby brother, and again, that fire caught up. And then obviously you can, you go into that part when you were 7, 8 years old. Your father remarried for you to have, the care of a mother, but now you realize, what a real stepmother is, and then you beautifully, you were going into your emotions. I had to stop you, and I like the ODAAT. It's beautifully done. One day at a time. It's amazing. The way you brought it up. It hooks the audience up, and they want to listen and understand. What it is about. And people, rest of you, can please come on the camera if you can. Those of you can. Okay, we will go from this. This slide. ODAAT.
so I was old enough to understand what was happening with me, and I developed a coping mechanism to get me through the motions of the day. And I call it the ODAAT, one day at a time. And at the same time, kept hoping and waiting for life to change. We were not allowed to meet our father or go out of our rooms. We had to wait in our own bedrooms for him to come to us when he would come back from work. Then, in 1977, 18th of June, my baby sister was born. And I was almost 10 years old and felt so exhilarated. Even mom was smiling, and I thought maybe there's hope. But soon, that's her. We were moved to a boarding school in Dehradun. That is me and my brother. I was in my 6th standard. I was excited for the new freedom, and I was so happy that now I'll be out of this house. There'll be so much new things, happy things that will come into my life. And I quickly adapted to that new school. But my little brother could not. He felt alone and he would cry a lot. some pics from my school days. And then by the time I was 15 years of age, I came back home to Delhi. This boarding school was in Dehradun, and I stayed there for almost 4 years. I had almost reconciled to the same old life, not allowed to go anywhere, stay in your room, just come and do your work. Sometimes I felt like running away, but where could I really go? So life continued. And at home, I was told, since now I was, a young girl, that do what you have to do, but after you get married. And suddenly that seemed to me, the doorway to heaven. There was one thing that kept me going: optimism. That one thing kept me going. कि अच्छे दिन आएंगे. I wanted to pursue English honors at the University of Delhi, but I was forced to take a BSc honors in home science. Why? Because the college was near home. And in the afternoon, I was expected to come back and cook food, because mother would be at the tailoring unit, running a unit, manufacturing clothes, etc. During college, I studied child development and psychology, which sparked my interest in human resource development. And if I really look back, that's where I kind of got into, human resource as an area where I could create something and do something. After having passed out from college, I got into the family business. It was like be there, learn there, and on the side do something else. I got a little freedom to think and work on myself. I went on to specialize in HR during my MBA postgrad program. I got a lot of exposure. I worked in my father's business consulting vertical. I traveled with him the world. I have many more pics, which today, unfortunately, I could not build into this presentation. So during that process, I learned how business plans get created, how technologies are sourced from outside, how to set up export-oriented units, how to get projects, how to have buyback arrangements. And I always had this strong interest in how large corporations and organizations really operate and build their businesses online and build their businesses across countries, like multinationals too. And with this interest, I also I was always passionate about developing the human potential. And then the day arrived. I was 25 years old. I got married and got my biggest gift of my life. And do you know what that gift is? My mother-in-law. Got you. Yes, she is the biggest big gift of my life, because the love that I yearn for, the love that every girl wants, not just from her partner, but from a mother, where she can cry, where she can go to sleep in her, in her arms and just tell her everything that's troubling her. I found all of that in her. So the doors had opened and life gave me my most precious mother-in-law, of course, a loving husband, but the less talked about him, the better. My kids next. And to me, my mother-in-law was someone who was worth the wait, all the tears, all the waiting, to be free, to feel love, to live life the way I really wanted to. She was and she continues to be my pillar of support. And it is because of her that I am who I am today, because I would have never reached this level if she wasn't there to support me. So almost couple of years after I got married, I exited the family business and I got into the corporate world. I worked for very big names like the Tatas, Dells, and EMCs. Life was really looking up. Yes, every marriage has issues, but we were doing good. And soon I realized that, all these big glamorous multinationals are very, very different from what they look on the outside. But internally, there's always the same politics and issues. And then the year was 2011. I had been with this US company for almost close to 5 years. I was a high performer. I was the HR head of the Indian subcontinent region. And this year was kind of going to be a defining year for me. My manager, he was based out of Singapore. He flew in. It was the 13th of September. And he had a communication to deliver to me. They were replacing me with a male HR head. The internal politics came as a big shock. Slowly it sunk into me what was really happening. I had a family to run. I had bills to pay. I had to put my kids through higher education because I was running my family, every single expense. I was absolutely at my wit's end and I just didn't know what to do. I decided that, I need to fight it out. And Paul Texton, the gentleman that he is, I'm still connected to him. I negotiated with him. He was kind of a softie. I was able to get 12 months pay and I got him to encash all my stock options. So it was a good amount. And then I felt strong. I felt that I had turned around that moment of weakness, that moment of adversity into a very powerful state for myself and my family. I decided that come what may, I will not let life dictate, because I had allowed life to dictate me for very many, many years. I will choose how I get treated. And then I became an entrepreneur. This alive, kicking entrepreneur, master of my life, turning my dreams into reality. And in 2012, I founded India Talent Services, which operates as its people. And at its people, I enable businesses to solve their people and culture challenges, build leadership, enhance capability, and drive the results that people are looking for. It's been 11 years now. And with this massive experience of family, of corporate business, all the traumas that I went through, I think it's made me into someone who is strong, who's powerful, and who can do anything that she sets her mind to. So I help business leaders like you be more, do more, and have more. Because I know what's possible. Everything is possible in your professional, in your personal lives. I can guide you how to lead from your heart. I can guide you how to get systems and processes in place. I can help you use your passion to create and set goals, evaluate performance, create career progressions path, create a workplace where people are happy and really enjoying. So all my learnings, all my experiences of having worked with these big multinationals, I've been putting it to really, really good use. And thereby realizing my mission of empowering and impacting 1 million entrepreneurs so that they can really live the life that they want to. My upcoming program on the 3 Ps of enhancing business results is all about helping you unlock your and your business's full potential. And then coming from someone who has faced and lived life despite all odds, you know where to get started from, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Saloni Kaul, for your light. क्या बात है, क्या बात है, बहुत दम है, बहुत दम है. Okay, Saloni ma'am, I've got a few questions, and if ever you don't want to answer anything, you have that choice, So nothing is mandatory. Uh, you got married at 25. I'm at 45. You're 10 years older for 55. 30 years of marriage. Yeah. Your husband is with you? Okay, and if you want to share again, it's up to you. He doesn't work and provide for the family? Okay. And if you want to share, you can, the reason.
So he used to work for a German company. he had idiot for a boss who used to keep, us kind of rebuking him. So he just threw his resignation at him one day and walked out. And then he really didn't get into a good job after that, like a multinational big company. So he worked with Ujala. Then we tried to do something like I said, you start something and I'll help you in your recruitment. That also didn't work. So he did something. Now he does nothing. He living a retired life. He's almost 58, and I'm okay with it as long as he doesn't drink and doesn't make my life mess. So those are the other challenges that I live with. In 2020, when lockdown happened, I kind of left him, moved into a new flat. Uh, I had another flat in my name. So I asked the tenant to leave, and I moved here. Then I redid this house, and now 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. So in 2021, he kind of left this job that he'd been at for almost a year in a warehouse company. And he came back, and then he moved in here. And then he fell down one night. He was heavily drunk, broke his leg. For almost a year and a half, it took to heal. And then now so ever since he's been at home, he walks with a little limp. And I feel bad for him sometimes because he's always comparing himself to me, to his brother, who's done extremely well in life. So I have that, but I also know that some things I don't take and I give it back to him. And but yeah.
Okay. Thank you. You can decide, what kind of turn you want to take in this story. The one turn can be, in the ways that you got married and you met the mother of your life, which you're always, looking to have in your life, and your mother-in-law became that mother for you. And you always have, you gave a lot of credit to her, and she deserves it. God bless her. One of the exceptional mother-in-law she is, because 95 to 98%, that category comes in. It's just the dynamics of mother-in-law and daughter-in-law is just, something beyond you, like understanding. You can't explain it. Uh, I'm just talking from experience as well. Uh, you spoke, negatively about your husband in a very in a less fashion, which you have to decide whether you want to go that route. You said something on the lines, let's talk about him. You know, so that energy came out. So if you want to portray that picture, you can, or you can say something on the lines, with an unfortunate incident. Just after I got married and I got this amazing mother-in-law, with an unfortunate incident, my husband, lost his job, uh, um, and it impacted him so much that he went into depression and became a different human being. you know so you can leave it there and people can guess, all about the drinking thing. And by the way, on a side note, everybody please understand, for a man, I'm not against anything, as a woman earning, because my wife has been running the family. When the pandemic came, we were completely frozen, when it came to events. So she was the bread earner, for a good solid maybe a year or so. But for men, it is bit more important to earn. Our pride comes in by earning and having a challenge in our life. It comes from our jungle days, when we used to go and hunt and bring, that hunting back home. And if it doesn't happen for a man, then the man turns out to be a very different man. And when men, most men are not good at talking, especially Asian men. We have been groomed and trained that way. So we take solace in drinking. We take solace in beating our partner, and doing shit stuff. But deep down, it is a problem. And yeah, I know a lot of men who would not like to go there and talk about it. I get it, because I have some elements of it which I'm aware of, and a lot of men have that. So it's very important for a man to feel men by making a living and hunting and bringing something for the family. I'm sorry, it is your like life, and you've been chosen to go through the pain to learn your lessons. Uh, so that the reason, I'm actually telling you this, because when you came to the part that you fought back because you have to provide for your family, all the college fees for your kids, it didn't go that well, because people are thinking, what happened to your husband? So you're thinking, is he dead, or is he handicapped, or so you have to give it somewhere as a one liner. And then we know, that he can't provide for the family. And you can take both angles. You can take the unfortunate angle, or you can say, what, my husband, has never been the guy, who can take responsibilities in life and do things, in the way it needs to be done. So he has been a person who will just leave job at a blink of an eye just by something little bit goes wrong, and give the responsibility to somebody else, and probably put the blame on others. So he's been this guy, blaming everybody, and situations around him. So he has been able to provide for the family. So somehow I became the bread earner, for the family, within a few months of the marriage, or within a few years of the marriage, which is the truth. So you can take that angle, or you can take the other angle, give him in sympathy. Unfortunately, he lost his job, never got any job back, and he went into depression, became a different person. So it was me and my mother-in-law taking care of our kids and providing for them. Then, you had an amazing career. You exited from the family business. You went into all these MNCs, Dell, Tata's, beautiful. And you explained, how great they look on outside is different, inside. You understood the crux of, human essence, being a HR head. And you were successfully, running the HR head. And you were waiting, for a promotion or whatever that was supposed to happen on 13th of September 2011. But it was, surprise. And make it very obvious, like you did, but just make it, what, they were planning to fire me, you know and I couldn't accept that. I couldn't accept a failure. So I fought back. And don't give that term softy. Don't worry, because it was your credit that you found a way to get through that. So just leave it there. Say I fought my way back with the management. Got my 12 months of salary and my shares offloaded, to pay me, so that I can provide for my kids. And boom, I understood so much about companies, and you can't rely on them. You can be your own boss, and you can run your own entrepreneurship, which you actually run in a job, by the way, you may not realize. you know and I'm here. And then that convincing lines came out of you was amazing. That you understand human essence, you understand, how to run a business, help them this with that was amazing. Uh, cool. You can also add things like, which you already did. Maybe, I was running my family business for so many years, so I understand, what it takes to run a business. And then you beautifully brought your brand as well, 2020, It's People. So that is also nice. And I know you also mentioned somewhere, that your slides were not fully prepared. It's okay. Just the accountability of doing this session for 3 days has put you into so much of pace now, that by the time the showcasing comes, it will be ready to a certain extent. And then it will be further ready, when you go out of the showcasing as well. Because this whole journey of being a great teacher is an endless journey, of becoming better, learning, and and improving yourself on a regular basis. And you're a great orator. So I am feeling lucky to have a mentee like you, because you will shine, and some of the credit will go to me. Yeah. So you have any questions?
No questions. The I have pics. So I wanted to also put in pics, which I didn't have for lack of time. All the places I went to overseas, just a couple of them, where I am, at Taiwan, I'm at in business meetings, I'm holding something, I'm in a factory, I'm in a business convention, in Taipei. So I have, I've really spent a lot of time looking for pics. And, guys won't believe me. I did not have any pic of my mom. I
Your
never had.
biological mother?
Yes, I never had any pics of her. I didn't know what her name was for a very long time till my bua told me. And when my dad kind of left for Canada, that's where my brother lives. Uh, he left. Now he's PR there, um, and he had this complete setup. He moved it to a new place, which was my uncle's place, and then that complete office moved into my office here. So I just like to kind of and I think last week uh, I was looking through all those big boxes because I know that there were some albums, and I went through all of those albums. Yeah, this is my office, and I I got them, and I kind of sifted, and I have all these memories of my with my children, of course, also. But I found all those pics which I didn't have, and then I found the black and white pics. They were, I got them, and I have to thank you for it, because if I hadn't looked for it, they would be lying in that box, and probably I would never ever go through it, because all that stuff just came into this flat. And I said, no, but I know they are pics. I have to look for it. So I kind of spent a lot of time last week looking for pics. And then last night, though I've been running a fever, I started to click. And then this evening, I think around 4ish, I started doing my presentation. So just wanted to share that I am feeling nice about all this effort, and connecting with some very precious memories. And I was thinking that, is this mom? Because there was a pic and I couldn't really. So I told my daughter, she said, let me look at. I said, just see the nose and the lips, because the eyes are down. So she said, she looks. So, it was attached and yet detached, because, when you don't know a person, like I don't know her, but yeah, the relation is there. And so she told me, why don't you speak to Buas and send them this pic? They will tell you. I said, no, I know it's her only, because, it's a 1960s ka pic. And, when you had only black and white. So there are lots of other pics also, because my dad has been into, he's a serial entrepreneur. He keeps doing something or the other, even till date.
Thank you for sharing. Because if I tell you that this is going to be a healing session, maybe a lot of people will say, yeah, I can have another healer. So yeah, thank you. I understand what I'm doing. It's also, for you to understand how far you have traveled to be where you are. It was not like with a blink of eye you came where you have come. So people devalue, the achievement of their life, 35 to 40 years, sometimes, even 45 years, to figure out all the answers you have. And then some people can definitely benefit by it. Your job is to take that pain and go through that research mode to bring the pieces out. So the research, by the way, never ends. It will end when you become ashes or you get buried and become fertilizer. And it's a beautiful healing process, when you look back at your life and you dig your life in a very magical way, which you have done, and everybody else, who has put the effort in. So it is done for a reason, for you to look back into your life 30, 40, 50 years. So thank you for sharing that. On a quick note, from a business, from a stories point of view, when you talk about your, joining your dad's business and helping him, you are exposed to real business. So you learned real business, not just in books. You did an MBA, that is great, but you realize, what real business consists of, what it takes, to run a profitable, cash flowing business. Which you're sharing, again, just make it much more powerful and obvious. So it's not that because you're an MBA, they must come to you for consulting about their business. Because I know what it takes to run a profitable business, because I've run it day in, day out for the last 30 years, 35 years of my life. That's where it, yeah, and that's why you are powerful, because the exposure your dad has given you through that business. And very quickly, again, add somewhere in the beginning what business your dad did. I think you did, maybe I missed out, so that people can connect the dots again.
Yeah, business consulting. So we
Your
would,
dad.
so it was all business consulting. We would get projects, we would align our clients in India to get them foreign technologies, know-how transfer, and from Far East usually. So we went to Hong Kong, we went to Taiwan, Korea. These were mostly the places where we picked up technologies, and then we brought them back to India. Of course, the clients also traveled with us. So my dad has.
Your dad has done what kind of education?
So my dad did automobile engineering.
So mention it, very quickly somewhere, that he was a very learned man, and he used to consult businesses, outside Indian companies, would come. So yeah, that will help, to enhance your credibility further, because you come from a origin where it is all about business and consulting. So it's not only 35 years of experience you've got another 20 plus years, from your dad coming to you. So you're somebody, if think they shouldn't pay you, let's say whatever, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, or 50,000 minimum for your brain, they're stupid. You're bringing 60 years of nichor, of experience in that session. So that's good. For your green screen, I believe you will improve upon it. You got to have a green screen light falling on it, then you won't cut off. So that's there. And what else? Even the part where the BSc home science was forced on you was nice. You did it. And Achhe Din Aayenge was also a good slide. I liked it. And for the Dehradun thing, you can say you saw other kids crying. Maybe I think that was your case, but you were happy, being in that hostel because it gave you a sense of freedom, which you did say that. But you can just bring the contrast. The other girls were crying, but I was over the moon because I finally am out of that hell or whatever you want to call it. Tough house, and I could be in my own space. Yeah. Okay. Your baby sister situation was nice when she came and you saw a smile on your mother's face and you hoped things will change, but it didn't much change. Okay, what else? No, I think that's it. You are doing a great job. Your story will look amazing, and a lot of great entrepreneurs are going to be served by you. So can you have a round of applause for Saloni Call, please?
Thank you.
You are welcome. You're based in Faridabad, right?
Yeah, I didn't bring that up.
No, you did talk about the Faridabad, society that. So
Yeah,
it was obvious, yeah. Do you know any other Call family in Faridabad?
do I know other calls?
Yeah,
You've done, yes.
yeah. Because Bharat Kaul was my team leader in PCL in Mathura Road. His name is Bharat Kaul. We used to call him Brad. That was his pseudonym, call center name. So he was my team leader, and he used to come from Faridabad. They are all friends. Pradeep, Bharat,
Did
uh, uh,
Bharat have
Pujan Dharkan, was our CEO. He lives in Faridabad.
did Bharat have an elder brother?
I think so. Yeah, he's in Canada now. Bharat.
Okay, okay. And the elder brother was in NIT by any chance?
Possible. Bharat's wife's name is also Amandeep. Yeah, they are in Canada now. It was a love marriage. They met in PCL call center, and then after a few years they got married.
Because I know
But,
one Bharat who worked with me in Tata Infotech.
okay, and this Bharat is probably younger than me. I think he's probably 2, 3 years, 4 years younger than me. So he's in his early 40s.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture. I'll send you on Facebook. He's connected to me. Okay, so Pramod Soni.